The Starliner, Boeing's most advanced rocket, has become an unfortunate shock to the world as it leaves its crew helplessly floating in outer space following a crewed mission to the ISS for the very first time. This comes right after NASA raised the alarm on the Starliner and its potential to become a nightmare. Now, in space, the plane is slowly shattering into pieces. Currently, the two-man crew is slowly losing life support as time is quickly running out and they are no way closer to being home. Is there hope for these two, or would the astronauts make space their new home? What is NASA doing to bring them back? Would space become a new cemetery? Want to know what happened to the Starliner and its crew? Watch this video to the end as we reveal the shocking mystery of this event. Welcome to the Space Minds channel. Here we love rockets and space, and we know you love them too, so why don't you let us take you on amazing adventures of the unknown and unveil the hidden secrets of space. You definitely don't want to miss any of our space adventures. Just hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, and we will update you on all our newest stories. Boeing has long been named the giant in the airplane business, surpassing the other big names like Airbus, Northrop Grumman, and Lockheed Martins. The Boeing 747-8 is a beautiful wonder of its own. The brilliance of Boeing, however, didn't just stop at airplanes, they also got into the rocket business too. Boeing has collaborated with NASA on multiple groundbreaking events, including the creation of the International Space Station in the 1990s and the recent Artemis program. In the Apollo program of the 1960s, Boeing was responsible for the first developmental stage of the Saturn V rocket. One of these programs stands out, the Commercial Crew Program, which led to the creation of one of the most advanced commercial space shuttles, the CST-100 Starliner. The Starliner's artistic design grants it a form of prestige over other spacecraft. Its body is made of aluminum-lithium alloy and is equipped with an Avcoat anti-heat shield similar to that of NASA's Apollo spacecraft. Without this material, the Starliner would be vaporized immediately after it enters Earth's atmosphere on return. There is also a thermal conduction system to regulate internal heating. The Starliner can hold a maximum of 7 people and has a cargo section for transport to the ISS. The solar arrays fixed on the outer surface help generate enough power for both departure and return. Launched on an Atlas V rocket, the Starliner has powerful thrusters that are enough for propulsion even with heavy cargo. The backup thrusters could resurface in case of a main thruster failure. One more interesting feature is its automaticity. All controls on the Starliner are fully automated, including launch, course alignment, and docking. While car companies are struggling with self-driving cars, Boeing already has a self-driving space shuttle going. But despite how amazing the Starliner is designed, it suffered so many defects during tests that a crewed test flight was delayed over a decade. The first orbital flight in 2019 was a huge disaster. For one thing, the launch timer was off by several hours, causing the launch to be incomplete and almost devastating for the vehicle. A software malfunction almost took the plane out of orbit, leading to Starliner's inability to dock on the ISS. It didn't achieve the main aim of the test. The second orbital test flight was halted multiple times due to hazardous gas leaks from valve issues of the propulsion system. Technically, if it had been launched, the shuttle would turn into ashes before it got out of Earth's atmosphere. In a third test, there was a parachute failure that almost caused a landing problem for the plane in 2019. Even though the landing ended up successful, it was a bad record for NASA. Even though Boeing took a huge step in creating the Starliner, its history has been tainted with so many technical defects, questioning its reliability for safe travel to space. Unfortunately, the greatest mistake of the Starliner was yet to come. Despite several errors during tests, Boeing was finally granted the green light to conduct their first crewed mission with the Starliner. The result, however, was nothing short of unsettling. On June 5, 2024, the Starliner was booked for a 9-day flight to the ISS with 2 NASA astronauts, Butch Wilmore and Sunita Williams. The trip was intended to show the world how effective the Starliner was despite its years of failures. Unfortunately, it only did the opposite. The journey from Earth to the space station was all smooth and safe, no derailing, no wrong detours. About a day after launch, on June the 6th, the rocket docked successfully with the ISS, allowing both astronauts into the space station. Just then, things took a turn. On a pre-departure analysis of the Starliner plane, the crew realized that some of the main thrusters were dead, totally unusable for a return flight. Hopes for a return with the Starliner were tarnished when analysis showed that the backup thrusters were also down. This thruster failure could have been predicted, especially considering that the Starliner already had a record of thruster failures. Despite all the repairs and changes, these same thrusters became a public failure. Does it end there? Not even close. Failures of the propellant tanks of the Starliner were also recorded. The pressuring gas, helium, leaked out of these tanks, basically risking an explosion if a return launch was attempted. We haven't even spoken about the feasibility of helium poisoning the astronauts. They could be dead before they enter the Earth's atmosphere. There were around 5 helium leaks, one of which was noted by the control base on Earth right before the Starliner was even launched. News only got to the crew about the helium leak while performing the analysis. With these defects of the Starliner, astronauts Wilmore and Sunita may stay in space for quite a while before a rescue plane comes for them. While the Starliner is being repaired and undergoing thruster tests up in space for a possible return, the wait time for the crew is indefinite. Our only hope to see Wilmore and Sunita now lies on the shoulders of another space shuttle, the Dragon. Considering that time and life support is running out for NASA's astronauts of the Boeing Starliner, the Space Travel Institutes may be forced to call on SpaceX for help. The Dragon is SpaceX's most advanced commercial shuttle, having a design considerably much better and more reliable than Boeing's Starliner. With over 40 successful trips to and from the ISS, the Dragon sure has one of the best records in space travel. Compared to the Starliner, which only uses the Atlas V thrusters alone, SpaceX's Dragon can use a long list of thrusters, including the Atlas V and the more powerful Vulcan Centaur. It has enough space for a 7-man crew and a larger cabin for cargo. Its heat shield is made of Pica X, which has several advantages over the Starliner's Avcoat when it comes to reusability, weight, and even degree of temperature resistance. If you ask me, I'd say Elon Musk did spend quite a lot of money on SpaceX's Dragon. To bring back the astronauts, Boeing and NASA might have to make the difficult decision of calling in SpaceX for help. While the two rocket companies, Boeing and SpaceX, already have an unspoken battle for who has the better plane, we know that Boeing's only way of saving their heads would be to call their adversary into the matter. With the Dragon, Wilmore and Sunita will safely return to Earth, and the Starliner may have to go a year or even more with new changes to almost every feature before it can be approved for another flight. Bad news for Boeing, really bad. If Boeing and NASA take the bold move to call on SpaceX for help, I think it's enough to say that the Boeing SpaceX or Starliner Dragon battle is over. SpaceX's reputation would hit a massive spike as the tech giant would be described as the savior of space or the deliverer of Boeing. The Dragon would really claim its name, taking up the position as the safest travel to space. In other words, this makes the Dragon the most reliable vehicle for future space expeditions and also gives SpaceX the upper hand in the rocket market. Elon Musk definitely would be proud to see SpaceX ruling the space travel market. The financial gain, well, would almost seem like a monopoly, with SpaceX as the only dealer. However, all these depend on whether or not Boeing calls SpaceX. Personally, I think it would be the toughest decision for the Starliner owners. Let's hope they put the lives of their astronauts over their names. Currently, Boeing's only way of bringing back these NASA astronauts is SpaceX's Dragon. While this may be a really difficult decision to make, it is their only way of keeping their name and completing their mission, though it is already a failed one. We might not see the Starliner flying for a while, and Boeing might want to stick to keeping their heads in the airplane business in the meantime. Of course, they would have their faces in the mud for a couple of months or years, but eventually they would rise again. Thanks for watching, and that brings us to the end of our latest video. Why not let us know in the comments below what you think should happen to ensure the safe return of those 2 stranded astronauts? And make sure to subscribe to us here at Space Minds and hit that alert button to know when we upload our next video. Until then, see you next time.